Golta, we know that in Montana there's a lot of hunters, a lot of gun enthusiasts, so you might as well shop local when you're looking for your next firearm or accessory, huh?
Selway Armory, they got the best prices around and the best service you'll find anywhere. As the guys over there will tell you, shop with Selway Armory for a year. We guarantee you'll save some money.
The other thing is they have great knowledge. There's a lot of questions that people have about the right styles and types to suit them and what it is that they're trying to do, and all the guys over at Selway Armory know their firearms and ammunition and accessories inside and out.
With locations in both Missoula and Bozeman, Selway Armory has some specialty products as well, including full Sig Sauer inventory for your best in handguns and much, much more.
Like Coulter said, 2 brick-and-mortar locations, one in Missoula, one in Bozeman, and also online, tremendous inventory there. They'll ship everything you want, SelwayArmory.com.
I said the win. That was memorable. That was a really pleasant spring ball day. But anyway, hey, number one objective, got out of there healthy. Let the young guys roll around a little bit, do their thing. And now it's time for the most important part of the year for us, which is the summer, and turning our attention to getting guys healthy that have been a little bit nicked up, getting back in the weight room, getting back into the books full time, and then, like I said, the most important part of the year, get the summer going. So, any questions?
I know you guys always talk about control. You can't control the wind, but how much of an influence did it have to start what you guys were doing?
Probably quite a bit in that red zone period when it was in our face. You could tell the offense moved the ball a little bit better when we had the wind at its back. And the guy that felt the worst for was probably Tristan. And I'm standing behind him, the ball moved probably 25 yards on that second kick, and he's aiming. He goes, I know I should aim outside the goal pole. I think he was aiming at the flagpole and ended up over on Kagi. So it was a pretty stiff wind out there today. But it was, it is what it is. Like I say, you can't control that part of it. And we're pretty used to the elements by now, so.
What do you think your defensive front seems like made things tough for the offense?
Oh yeah, I mean, especially when at the end there, those guys did a really nice job. Our 2 offensive lines struggled a little bit with some basic calls, and that definitely impacted our ability to get a good evaluation on a couple of our quarterbacks, and so that kind of that plays certainly a role in it. I thought, our offense moved the ball pretty good once we got into the play-it period. That first play-it period, our offense kind of moved the ball right down the field, did some nice things after a little bit of a shaky start in the red zone period. And so I thought, Tucker did some nice things, kind of leading the group. And, is what it is. Let's get this. I mean, we got, like I said, basically, when it's all said and done, we ended up with basically 9 practices. And so this was probably more like a first scrimmage than it was a spring game. But it's kind of one of those things you put on the calendar and you do it, and then you say, okay, let's go focus on what's going to really help us get better, which is getting back in the weight room and getting back in the classroom and getting to summer.
You guys mix and match so much with personnel. When you're evaluating the film, how do you evaluate when you have maybe some second-string offensive linemen going with first team,
right?
Other personnel.
Yeah, I don't put a lot of stock into it.
Yeah.
In fact, this is going to sound weird. I'll watch it, but not very closely. I'm probably more worried about watching Utah State's offense because that's where Texas Tech came from right now than I'm watching our spring game. And it kind of is what it is. I mean, I just think that it's funny because, when you look at like even TCU, I mean, Gary Patterson, who's about as old school, hardcore coach as there is, cancels his spring game because of injuries and some of that type of stuff. And I just think I was talking to another guy from Texas A&M today, and they're lamenting, hey, we've got 3 of our starting wide receivers are out. It's hard to evaluate quarterbacks because we don't have this going on. And so, it's you want to be able to get some work. But the last thing you want to do is put somebody in harm's way. Like I said, I mean, the best thing about this year, I went ahead and had the surgery so nobody else could have that. I took one for the team this year. It's the first year I've been here that we didn't lose somebody, an important player in spring ball. And so I'm the happiest guy in the room right now. Everybody, that was, had this or that, whether it was ugly, pretty, don't care. We're healthy, so let's go.
Over the course of the 12 or 13 practices, any individuals stick out?
I think we had some young guys that still, I mean, I've mentioned, Lane Sumner a couple of times, and Ryan Davis a couple of times, and Nolan Askelson, I thought did some nice things this spring. I thought Daniel Hardy, came on. He's a guy that hasn't played a ton of football, but is really starting to shine a little bit. And clearly Amadre's a guy that's a veteran player that made some plays today for us. And so, there's some guys that I think flashed at times, and it's just the body of work wasn't complete enough, I guess. It would be the best way to describe it. It was very disjointed with kind of getting some canceled early before we got going, and really just doing stuff in what used to be the gyms, and then we get outside a little bit once we get back from spring break, and It's just, I mean, I was counting in my head really, Tuesday after spring break was probably the first time that we were really on the field, that we could use the field. So you go Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. We added a bonus one on Sunday. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. I mean, 7 real practices is what we got. And so you can't control it, like Coulter said earlier. I'm fine with it. I'm the happiest guy here. Like I said, nobody got hurt. Well, I think we got a little bit of work, which we needed a little bit of work, knocked the rust off, and how much of this is going to carry over from, from what is today, April 6th to July 31st? That's the real question. I don't know, but that's kind of what the debate is on the value of this. I think, honestly, if they said if you don't do spring ball, you can have 7 more practices in the fall, I'd be all for it. It'd be the best rule ever. So, anyway.
You mentioned your offensive line. With so many returners, I imagine chemistry is down, but what do you think they have to do to kind of improve as a group?
I think our ones are pretty good. I think when you look at it, the best thing for our offensive line is that they go against a really good group of defensive players each day. And so sometimes it's hard to evaluate that part of it, because when it's in a test tube, it's not that hard for our D-line. You see where we started using tempo and mixing some things and we start moving the ball, that's where it becomes a little bit more challenging. So real football is where those guys are going to shine. And clearly, you're not opening up your playbook. We didn't use a whole lot of quarterback run game today. It was very basic on our pass plays. I mean, we basically ran inside zone and counter. We ran essentially 2 run plays. And so it's vanilla by design. We're just trying to get a little bit of work and get out of here. But I think the best thing, like I said, for our offensive line is they have to go against a great group every day, and that just pushes those guys.
On that note, on the defensive line, there's so much talk about losing those 3 sleeves up front, but it seems like these guys are even more diverse in terms of Derek can play inside and outside. You can move Bryce up and down. What does that do for you when you can move guys?
Yeah, well, I mean, depth is kind of a little bit of a concern for us. We really feel good about kind of our 5 guys, maybe. Lots of experience, lots of talent. I do think you'll probably see us play a little bit more 4 down. And that's where Derek can, like I said, slide inside. Bryce can slide inside. And then when you get to pass downs, he'd be the first one to tell you he'd much rather pass rush a guard than he would a tackle, and so it makes it pretty easy on him.
Did you see anything new from the quarterbacks today? And then what is one thing you like about each of them? I know, I'm so sorry.
Listen, we're going to give out trophies today. Well, I don't know that I saw anything new. I mean, I think it was a challenging day to go out and perform as a quarterback given the weather conditions. I mean, I think that's the reality of it. And so it's very difficult to give those guys an honest evaluation. I did think Tucker had the most command of the offense today and moved the ball well. When he was in with the ones, it was, like I said, it was a little bit of a tough day for Casey and for Ruben, just especially once the 2-0 line got a little bit, we go from the 2s to the 3s, and it's difficult for those guys to hang in there and make plays. But, the things that I think I like probably Casey's arm talent would be a thing that's obviously going to stand out. Ruben is, and I know it didn't necessarily show up today, but Ruben's a pretty accurate passer and a good decision maker. And then with Tucker, he's probably got the best command of the offense overall because he's been here the longest.
You talked a little bit about some of the young guys getting the short end of the stick with limited number of practices. What do those conversations look like as far as opportunities? Where do the young guys find opportunities moving forward?
Well, the film's your resume, and so everybody got chances today. I mean, the group that played the most were the young guys, and so we're going to have somewhat of a body of work of that. But really, if you get 15 chances and you capitalize on 12 of those 15, that's pretty good. And so, whether it's an offensive lineman executing their assignment or a running back ripping off a big play, and what I'm looking for is production. And we value production in a number of different ways, and we equate it to a number of different things. But really what you're talking about as a defensive player, are you doing your job? And when opportunities come, are you putting guys on the ground? Offensively, are you getting explosive runs? Are you catching the ball when you're supposed to? Are you in the right place where you need to be? And so those are the biggest things that I see. And, it is going to be difficult for us to have a lot of stuff to work off of to evaluate these guys, but that's not the objective to me. If I was really hung up on that, but I'm not. I mean, I'm clearly not worried about it. I mean, I feel like if there's a year for us to get cut short, this is probably it. We kind of know who our guys are. We return 9 of 11 on defense or offense and 8 of 11 on defense. All our specialists are back, and so, those battles are with those young guys, and I do feel a little bit bad for them, but I can't control it.
What does spring ball look like for Isaiah in terms of growth?
He didn't do a lot. I bet Isaiah probably had, I'm serious, probably 25 carries all spring. And so, as far as his growth, he's had a lot of miles on the car in last fall as a true freshman. I don't want to get him beat up. I mean, we'll get him going in August, and we know what he's capable of doing. We've been able to see that firsthand. And so, if I don't need a if I don't need a lot of information, I mean, even, it's like these two guys, everybody, I mean, it's funny because Kane and Matt are upstairs like, okay, he's good, and then I'm like, well, what do you guys want to do the rest of this time? I mean, we can only do so many obstacle courses here, so. I bled it out right to 4 o'clock. All right.
You mentioned the summer being the most important time, so what does the next couple of days look like in Farmington in terms of implementing that, and what do you hope these guys get done between now and the fall camp?
Yeah, so we'll have tomorrow kind of be, day where they kind of get to see the trainer and whatnot, and then Monday, our normal Monday routine would be watch film and lift. So the offense will watch film for an hour, defense will lift, and we'll flip. And then Tuesday, we will have a practice on Tuesday, and it'll be a little bit of polish and whatnot, some individuals, some 7-on-7, but primarily the purpose of that would be to go through our player room practice routine. And so let these guys identify what the expectations are, let them run the practice with us observing so that we can give them a little bit of feedback and set the stage for them to be able to take over in the summer. And that's really what we're trying to get done, is those guys to have a lot of opportunities to bond together as a team, enjoy beautiful Bozeman, Montana when it's at its best, which we haven't seen for a while, and enjoy the summer. It's just like San Diego. I've been telling Travis that since he got here. and come together as a team, work hard, get in the best shape that they can possibly get in, and master our DNA stuff. So.